My name is Emily Parker. I'm 30 years old, and for most of my life, I thought I had something rare, an unshakable bond with my mom, Patricia. She wasn't just my mother, she was my best friend. Movie nights curled up on the couch, Saturday mornings spent sipping coffee at the kitchen table while we talked about everything under the sun, spontaneous road trips with the windows rolled down and music blasting. We had built a rhythm that felt unbreakable. But bonds can snap in ways you never see coming. Everything changed the day she met David Hayes. David was charming in that polished, deliberate way. He had the kind of easy smile that made people lean in, and he knew how to command a room without raising his voice. Mom fell for him fast, too fast if you ask me, but I kept my doubts to myself. She looked happy, happier than I'd seen her in years, and that was enough for me. At least, at first. David came with a daughter, Madison Hayes. Maddie was 5 years younger than me, 25 at the time, with flawless skin, a perfect Instagram-ready smile, and the kind of natural grace that made people immediately compare her to sunshine. She was the kind of girl people described as effortless. To Mom, Maddie wasn't just David's daughter, she was a dream come true. At first, I tried to welcome her. I told myself it was only fair. Families grow, families blend, and I didn't want to be the bitter daughter clinging too tightly to her mom. But slowly, I started to notice the shift. The coffee talks grew fewer. Movie nights faded. Whenever Mom and I tried to make plans, Maddie was somehow there too, sliding into the space between us with her sparkling laugh and polished manners. Mom would beam, proud of her new daughter, while I sat quietly, feeling myself recede into the background. And then came the wedding planning. When Patricia and David announced their engagement, I swallowed the complicated cocktail of emotions bubbling inside me and offered to help. Let me plan it, I told Mom one evening, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest. You deserve a day that's perfect. Let me do that for you. Her eyes softened, and she reached across the table to squeeze my hand. Oh, Emily, she said, I would love that. But let's keep it a secret. I want the day to feel magical. Don't tell anyone. Not even Maddie. Just surprise me. I smiled, but something about her words tugged strangely at me. Still, I agreed. I poured myself into the work. The venue. The florist. The caterer. The invitations. The seating chart. Every detail became my responsibility, my burden, my sacrifice. I spent late nights on my laptop, spreadsheets open, tabs of vendor websites cluttering the screen, my bank account slowly draining with every deposit and final payment. My savings, meant for a future down payment on a home, trickled away into floral arrangements and chair covers. Mom never asked for updates. Not once. And though it felt strange, I convinced myself it was just because she trusted me completely. What I didn't know was that while I was breaking myself in half to make her wedding magical, Maddie was feeding her a different story entirely. Seeds of betrayal. It was a Tuesday night when I overheard it. I was sitting in the kitchen, pen poised over the guest list, when I heard Mom's voice float in from the living room. Oh, Maddie, she said warmly, you've been such a lifesaver with all this wedding planning. I don't know how I would have managed without you. I froze, my pen stilling mid-word. Maddie laughed lightly, the kind of practiced laugh that grated once you realized how hollow it was. Oh, it's nothing really. I just want your day to be perfect. You deserve it. My throat tightened. I sat there, staring at the names on the page while my stomach twisted itself into knots. What was Mom talking about? Maddie hadn't lifted a single finger in this process. Not one. Mom's voice softened, filled with affection. I'm so lucky to have a stepdaughter like you. You're such a natural at this. Honestly, I thought Emily would be handling it, but clearly, you're much better at it. The words hit like a slap. My chest constricted, my ears ringing. I wanted to march into the living room and demand an explanation. But I didn't. Instead, I stayed frozen in the kitchen, telling myself maybe Mom was just being polite. Maybe Maddie had helped in some small way I hadn't noticed. I let it go. Or, at least I thought I did. The big day. The wedding day arrived in a blur of exhaustion and adrenaline. I'd spent the previous night tying ribbons to the backs of chairs until my fingers cramped, checking and rechecking vendor confirmations, and making sure everything was exactly the way Mom had imagined it. When I walked into the reception hall, pride swelled in my chest. It was perfect. Better than perfect. Every flower was in place, every table gleamed, and the entire room glowed under strings of warm light. For a moment I thought, maybe this will fix everything. Maybe Mom will see. But when Patricia stood at the head table, her glass lifted high, the words that came out of her mouth shattered me. "I just want to take a moment to thank someone very special," she said, her eyes sweeping the room. For one foolish, fragile second, my heart leapt. She meant me. She had to. "Madison," she continued, her voice brimming with pride, "you've been my rock through this whole process. I couldn't have done this without you." The applause roared. Laughter, cheers, admiration, all directed at Maddie, who sat only a few seats away, smiling sweetly, soaking up the attention. I sat frozen, invisible, my heart shattering silently in my chest. Not one mention of me. Not one acknowledgement. Maddie's eyes flicked to mine, just for a second. And in that fleeting glance, I saw it, the smirk. Small, subtle, but it was there. And that's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an accident. She had stolen my place. The applause from the wedding reception still echoed in Emily Parker's mind long after the guests had gone home. Every laugh, every compliment, every toast had felt like a dagger in her chest, because none of it had been hers. It was Madison Hayes who stood in the spotlight. Madison who accepted the praise. Madison who looked her mother, Patricia, in the eye and said, "I did this for you." And Patricia believed her. Emily lay awake that night in the small bedroom of her apartment, staring at the ceiling. The clock ticked, but sleep refused to come. Her hands itched with the memory of the thousands she'd spent, money she didn't have, on caterers, flowers, photographers. The hours of work, the stress, the endless sacrifices, and all of it stolen. She pressed her palms against her face, muffling a sob. Why does she hate me so much? What did I ever do to deserve this? But the answer was the same as always. She existed. That was enough for Madison. 2 days later, Emily tried again. She knocked on Patricia's door. The house she once called home now felt foreign. Madison's shoes were in the hallway. Madison's perfume lingered in the air. Emily swallowed the lump in her throat and stepped inside. Patricia was in the kitchen, humming softly as she washed dishes. "Mom," Emily began, voice trembling. Patricia turned, surprise flickering across her face, then softening into a smile. "Emily, honey, you're here. Have you eaten?" "I can." "No," Emily interrupted. Her chest felt tight, words pressing hard against her ribs. "I came to talk about the wedding." Patricia turned, surprise flickering across her face, then softening into a smile. "Emily, honey, you're here. Have you eaten?" "I can." "No," Emily interrupted. Her chest felt tight, words pressing hard against her ribs. "I came to talk about the wedding." Patricia froze, her hands dripping suds. A shadow crossed her face. "What about it?" Emily's throat ached. She forced the words out. "It wasn't Madison. It was me. I planned it, paid for it, stayed up nights working on it. Every single detail, that was me." Madison didn't lift a finger. For a moment, silence. The hum of the refrigerator filled the room. Patricia's brows drew together. "Emily," she sighed. "I know you're upset. I understand you feel left out. But Madison has been." "Don't say it," Emily snapped, tears stinging her eyes. "Don't you dare say she's been helping. She hasn't. She stole everything. She lied. And you let her." Patricia's face hardened. "Emily Parker, lower your voice. I will not have you speak about your sister that way." "She's not my sister." Emily's voice cracked. "She's your husband's daughter. And she's destroying me while you watch." The room trembled with her anger. For the first time, Patricia's expression wavered. A flicker of guilt. A flash of doubt. But it disappeared almost instantly, smothered by years of denial. "You're tired," Patricia said firmly. "You're imagining things. Madison would never." Emily's body shook. She wanted to scream, to rip the blindfold from her mother's eyes. But she could see it, the refusal, the stubborn loyalty. Patricia would never believe her. Not without proof. So Emily swallowed her rage and whispered, "One day you'll see. And when you do, it'll be too late." The smug smile. Emily found Madison in the backyard, lounging in a chair with her phone in hand. Sunlight caught her perfect blonde hair, and her lips curved into a lazy smile when she saw Emily. Well, Madison drawled. "If it isn't the ghost of the wedding past." Emily's fists clenched. "Why did you do it? Why take credit for something you didn't do?" Madison tilted her head, eyes gleaming with amusement. "Because I could. Because Mom believes me. Because no matter what you say, she'll always pick me." Her words cut deeper than knives. "You're sick," Emily whispered. Madison leaned forward, her voice a venomous purr. "No, Emily. I'm smart. You keep working, sacrificing, begging for scraps. I just step in and take the prize. That's what makes us different. And you know what the best part is? You can't stop me." She stood, brushing imaginary dust from her dress, and added, "Better get used to it, Em. This is my family now. You're just extra." The smile she left behind haunted Emily long into the night, gathering the evidence. For weeks, Emily kept her distance. But inside, something hardened. She realized Madison was right. Words alone would never save her. She needed proof. So she started collecting. Receipts from the caterers with her signature. Emails from the florist confirming her orders. Screenshots of bank transfers. Even text messages from the photographer thanking her for payment. Every document was a weapon. Every screenshot, a shield. At night, she spread them across her desk, arranging them like puzzle pieces. Together, they told a story of sacrifice, love, betrayal. Her hands trembled as she stacked them neatly into a folder. "When the time comes, I'll show her. I'll show them all." The time came sooner than she expected. Madison's 24th birthday arrived with glitter and champagne. The Hayes house was transformed into a carnival of lights, music blasting, guests laughing, cameras flashing. Patricia was there, beaming as she carried a cake the size of a small mountain. Emily stood at the edge of the room, clutching the folder to her chest. She had debated coming at all. But this was it, the perfect stage. Madison spotted her and smirked. "Look who finally showed up. Don't tell me you brought me a present." Her laughter echoed through the room. Others joined in, their amusement sharp and cruel. Emily's legs shook, but she forced herself forward. "Yeah," she said, her voice clear. "I did bring you something. The truth." She slammed the folder onto the table. Paper spilled out, receipts, emails, screenshots fluttering like broken wings. The room fell silent. "What's this?" Patricia asked, picking up a page. Her eyes scanned the lines. Her hands trembled. Emily's voice rang out, steady now, fueled by months of pain. "Proof. Proof that I planned the wedding. Proof that I paid for everything. Proof that Madison lied." Gasps rippled through the guests. Madison's face drained of color, then flushed crimson. "Don't listen to her," she shouted. "She's making it up. She forged those." But Ryan Carter, Madison's boyfriend, stepped forward. He picked up another paper, his jaw tightening. Then another. Then another. Finally, he looked at Madison. These have dates, your mom's email address copied, her bank statements." "Madison, what the hell?" "Ryan, I can explain." "No," his voice was ice. "You used me. You lied to everyone. I can't do this anymore." The words hit Madison harder than any slap. Her eyes widened, panic flashing across her face. "Ryan, please." But Ryan was already walking out the door. Patricia turned, her face pale, her lips trembling. "Madison, tell me it isn't true." Madison stammered, her bravado crumbling. I just wanted. I thought she doesn't deserve." Her excuses withered under the weight of the evidence. And in that moment, Patricia's world shattered. The daughter she had chosen, protected, and believed in was nothing but a liar. Tears spilled down Patricia's cheeks as she looked at Emily. For the first time in years, her eyes were wide open. But Emily's heart was stone. "You wanted proof, Mom," she whispered. "There it is." The silence after the storm. The party ended in chaos. Guests slipped out, whispering. Madison sobbed in her room. Patricia sat at the table, staring blankly at the evidence spread before her. Emily walked out into the night air, the cool breeze brushing her cheeks. For the first time in months, her chest felt lighter. But victory didn't feel sweet. It felt hollow. Because even though Madison was exposed, the damage was already done. Years of neglect couldn't be erased by one moment of truth. As she walked away, Emily knew the war wasn't over. The lies had been shattered, but the scars remained. The night of Madison's birthday party would be remembered for years, not for laughter or joy, but for the silence that followed the truth. The house that once pulsed with music and chatter now sat in eerie stillness. Empty glasses littered the counters. Half-eaten cake drooped on plates. Confetti clung to the carpet like reminders of a celebration gone wrong. Patricia Parker sat at the dining table, motionless, her eyes fixed on the folder of evidence Emily had left behind. Her fingers hovered over the papers, but never touched them again, as though contact would burn her skin. Upstairs, Madison Hayes cried until her voice broke. The sobs were sharp at first, then dull, then nothing at all. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, friends, partygoers, and gossip seekers flooding her with texts. She didn't answer a single one. She knew the screenshots were already spreading. By morning, her betrayal would be public knowledge. And Emily? She walked away from the Hayes house with her head high, the night air cooling her cheeks. Yet inside, she carried no triumph, only exhaustion. The fallout. Morning brought no relief. Patricia awoke with swollen eyes. She reached instinctively for her phone, half expecting a message from Emily, an olive branch, a chance to explain. But the screen was blank. Instead, the silence screamed. When Patricia went downstairs, she found David Hayes sitting at the table, a mug of untouched coffee before him. "Rough night," he said quietly. Patricia's throat tightened. David, she had proof. All this time, Emily was telling the truth. And her voice broke. She pressed her palms to her eyes. "I didn't believe her. I chose Madison." David placed a hand over hers. "You wanted to see the good in Maddie. That doesn't make you a bad mother, Pat. But it does mean you hurt Emily. And that's on you to fix." Patricia looked at him, guilt eating her alive. "What if it's too late?" David sighed. "Then you still try. That's what parents do." Madison's isolation. Meanwhile, Madison discovered what it meant to live without her shield of lies. Ryan blocked her number. Her friends ghosted her. Whispers followed her wherever she went, at the cafe, the gym, even the grocery store. She stole from her sister. "Did you hear what she did at the wedding?" Unbelievable. Each word cut deeper than the last. One afternoon, Madison scrolled through her phone, desperate for comfort, only to find her social media flooded with cruel comments. Screenshots of Emily's receipts had gone viral. The internet had crowned her a villain. She hurled the phone across the room, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered to herself. But even as the words left her mouth, she knew they were lies too. She had meant every cruel thing she'd done. She just hadn't expected the consequences. Patricia's guilt. For weeks, Patricia tried calling Emily. Sometimes the calls rang unanswered. Sometimes they went straight to voicemail. She left messages, long, tearful confessions, apologies tangled in regret. "Emily, it's Mom. Please, I need to see you. I was wrong. About everything. Please forgive me. You're my daughter. I love you. I can't lose you." But Emily stayed silent. At night, Patricia sat in Emily's old bedroom, running her fingers along the shelves of books left behind. She pulled one free, a childhood scrapbook Emily had made. Pictures of her and Patricia, smiling at birthdays, baking cookies, building snowmen. Memories of a time before Madison. A time when Patricia's world revolved around her only child. Tears blurred the pages. "What did I do to us?" she whispered. Emily's healing. While Patricia drowned in guilt and Madison spiraled, Emily began to heal. She threw herself into work, not the kind Madison mocked, but her real passion, graphic design. She took on freelance projects, late nights spent creating logos, posters, and digital art. Each finished design brought a small surge of pride, a reminder that she was capable of building something beautiful for herself. She also reconnected with old friends she had drifted from. Coffee dates turned into movie nights. Laughter replaced the silence that had once consumed her apartment. One friend, Jessica, invited her to join a pottery class. At first, Emily hesitated. But soon, she found herself at the wheel, clay spinning beneath her hands. The cool, pliable earth grounded her. Every shape she molded was a release of tension, every creation a piece of herself. For the first time in years, she felt whole. The unexpected visit. One Saturday afternoon, as Emily was arranging freshly fired bowls on her kitchen shelf, a knock echoed through the apartment. She opened the door to find David Hayes standing there, looking weary but kind. "David," she said, startled. He nodded. "Can I come in?" She hesitated, then stepped aside. He sat at her table, hands folded. "I won't take much of your time. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For letting Madison's lies fester. For not stepping in sooner. You didn't deserve any of it." Emily's chest tightened. "Why now?" David met her eyes. "Because you need to hear it from someone who sees you clearly. And because, Patricia, she's breaking Emily. She knows she failed you. She's desperate to make it right." Emily looked away, tears pricking her eyes. "It's not that simple." "I know," David said softly. "But healing never is." The confrontation. It was weeks later before Emily agreed to meet Patricia. They chose a quiet cafe on the edge of town, away from curious eyes. Patricia arrived first, clutching a small box in her hands. When Emily walked in, she rose, her face pale, eyes red. "Emily," she whispered. Emily sat across from her, arms folded. "Say what you came to say." Patricia opened the box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet, tarnished with age. "This was yours. You gave it to me when you were 10. You said it was your way of protecting me." Her hands shook as she pushed it across the table. "I failed you, Emily. I chose lies over you. I chose comfort over truth. I let you fight battles alone when I should have been your shield." Tears welled in Patricia's eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness. But I need you to know I see you now. I believe you. And I'm so sorry." For a long moment, Emily said nothing. The cafe buzzed around them, oblivious. Finally, she reached out, brushing her fingers over the bracelet. Memories of a little girl's love and hope flooded back. "I don't know if I can forgive you," Emily said honestly. "But I can't hate you either. Not forever." Patricia's face crumpled with relief. Madison's last stand. While Emily and Patricia slowly rebuilt bridges, Madison spiraled further. She tried to salvage her reputation, posting apologies online, blaming misunderstandings, insisting she had been pressured. But no one believed her. One evening, she showed up at Emily's apartment, her eyes hollow, her voice desperate. "Emily, please.
Talk to Mom.
Tell her I didn't mean it. Tell her I'm still her daughter." Emily stood firm. "You're her daughter, Madison. But you're also the one who destroyed her trust. That's yours to fix, not mine." Madison's face twisted with rage. "You think you've won? You think you're better than me?" "No," Emily said softly. "I just stopped letting you control me." For the first time, Madison had no comeback. She turned and left, her footsteps echoing down the hall like the final notes of a song. Rebirth. Months passed. Seasons shifted. Slowly, Emily rebuilt her life. She moved into a brighter apartment, filled with plants and her pottery. She started her own design business, clients praising her creativity and resilience. Patricia visited often, not as a mother demanding forgiveness, but as a woman humbled, grateful for every small chance to reconnect. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they cried. But always, they moved forward. As for Madison, she faded into the background. No longer the star, no longer the favorite, just a reminder of what lies could cost. One evening, Emily stood on her balcony, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The sky blazed with gold and crimson. She slipped the old silver bracelet onto her wrist, the weight both familiar and new. For the first time in years, she felt free. Epilogue, Emily's voice. Months later, Emily shared her story online, not as gossip, not as revenge, but as truth. Her words resonated with thousands. People who had been silenced, overshadowed, dismissed found courage in her journey. And Emily realized something powerful. She had never truly lost. Every sacrifice, every wound, every scar had shaped her into someone stronger. Her voice, once drowned out by lies, now rang louder than ever. And this time, no one could take it away.